Welcome back to another Microphone Monday. I'm John Bailey, and I'm here with a very special guest, Mr. Rob Paulsen. And we met up here in LA to do a little coaching session. So I'm just going to do a few quick questions, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So,
Hi.
How exactly did you get...
First of all, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.
This is Craig Crumpton's brother.
Yes. Unfortunately for him. I know you probably answered this 1,000 times before, but how exactly did you get started in voice acting?
Well,
specifically,
I came out here, meaning Los Angeles. I came to Los Angeles ostensibly to be a live action actor, or just to be basically anything in the entertainment business in terms of performing, because my background is in improv and music and stage. And so when I came to Los Angeles, just after the invention of the wheel, it's not that old. But I was doing TV shows, a lot of TV commercials, and fortunately one thing led to another, and I started auditioning for stuff at Hanna-Barbera. I'd had a lot of experience doing local radio back in Flint, Michigan, where I grew up, in Flint, Grand Blanc, Michigan, actually, just north of Detroit. And when I was a kid, my heroes were, Peter Sellers and the Pythons and those guys.
Peter Sellers.
Oh yeah. And so I was already hooked on doing goofy voices and that sort of thing. But I didn't come out here just to do that. It was part of what I wanted to do. But fortunately for me, I had a terrific agent that was able to get me auditions at Hanna-Barbera, and one thing led to another, and here we are having dinner.
What was your very first animated job?
I think it was G.I. Joe.
Wow.
I think I was Snow Job.
Oh, wow.
Which I always thought was a little bit odd, because Snow Job, as you may recall, was an alpine soldier, meaning that he was a guy that would fight in the snow. So he had a white suit, a white weapon, skied, but he had a bright red beard.
Yep, red
so it's
hair.
like, the bad guys would say, just shoot at the guy with the red beard in the snow. So, but anyway, it was Don Jurwich was the producer of that show, and he gave me, I think, my very first, between he and Gordon Hunt. God bless Gordon Hunt. Who gave
You
me
were 23, 22?
No, God bless you. I was 22 when I came here, but I was probably in my late 20s. Let's see. I was probably about 28 when I did my first.
You got a young start.
I did. I was out here at 22, but when I came here at 22, John, I'd already had probably 3 good years. I mean, as a kid, I was still doing music and singing as a youngster. But professionally, I started making money when I was probably 19. And then spent a couple of years in rock and roll bands and traveling around the United States and Canada doing theater.
Paulsen and Rocker.
Yes, I'm a rocker.
Russell Brand.
Not Russell Brand. You mean the ex-Mr. Katy Perry,
Exactly.
as it were.
He took her last name.
Oh, dear. So yeah, I mean, I just did a lot of that stuff.
And you were also, I'm sure that wasn't the only one you did, but you also did first aid in the original Transformers.
Did
I believe that was the character you did.
I believe you. And I'm not trying to be coy.
He didn't want to fight. He wanted to be,
Well, that's me. I'm a
against
lover.
the war.
I'm such a not a fighter. I honestly don't remember that. Charlie Adler and I yesterday were talking about that very thing. We met on Transformers in 1986, 5, something like that.
5, probably.
Yeah, but honestly, I've been lucky enough to be working for so many years now that I don't remember. And I get people all the time that will come to me at different conventions saying, "Remember that episode of blah blah blah?" And I'm saying,
Right.
I promise you, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. So, but thank you for remembering. I appreciate that.
I have to looking back on some of the things you've done, because one of your larger characters was one of the Ninja Turtles.
Yes, he wasn't that large. He was basically about this tall.
But you were in some of these shows that have become cult phenomena. I mean, looking back then, had you any idea at the time that something like G.I. Joe or Transformers or Ninja Turtles would have been just so huge worldwide, known everywhere?
Well, certainly not. I mean, with Ninja Turtles, I was sort of familiar with the fact that there was this kind of dark comic book. But I remember Townsend Coleman and Cam Clark and Barry Gordon and I were reading for this thing, and I thought, well, this could be really cool. And remember, the first 5 were paid for by the toy company, Playmates. And they didn't really do all that well. Then we did 8 more, made a total of 13, and then they came out the following year, which I guess would have been the Christmas of '89 or something, '88, '89. And then it went through the roof. And what's really even more surprising about that was to be able to be part of something that big was an enormous thrill and great fun having a child, who was a big Turtle fan. But now, 25 years later, I get another crack at Turtles, and this time I get to be Donatello. So somebody called me Raffatello the other day, which is my own action figure. But yeah, man, I am. If I die walking out of here, I have really had a hell of a run. I've been very lucky.
I have to toot my own horn. I've had the honor of one of the things on my bucket list was to have my own action figure, which I've had the joy of having to push the button and hear me.
Yes.
I've got to know what it's like browsing through it.
Oh, it's very cool.
And then you find you, and your son's like, "Oh, Dad, look, I'm playing with you."
Yeah, Wade doesn't really talk like that. It's close. No, but it is pretty odd in a really cool way when you get action figures, or like we just did some recording for the new Turtle action figures where we actually have our voices on it.
Right.
It's pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I get a real cool Jones out of seeing, dude, that's me. That's Raphael, or that's Pinky. Or, hey, Dad, look, it's me. I'm a little talking mouse. It's Yakko. Carl Weezer. I love them all, John. Very happy, man. Very happy.
My wife refuses to let me play with myself. I don't know why.
Okay, well that opens up a whole nother kettle of fish. And I'm sure your wife is going, oh, John.
What's the funny reaction is that my wife was going through the store when she first, because it was 2 years before I'd recorded it, and she was going through the store showing people, "This is my husband." I was like, they're going to think you're crazy.
Poor woman, yeah. Honey, if you just take your medication. This woman thinks her husband is a talking toy. God bless her.
Now, you previously, before we started recording, you had mentioned that you actually did do commercial work first, and then moved into animation.
Right.
And I had asked you, maybe you could share with them how the transition between doing, because that's what I've done. I've had to move from doing more commercial trailer type stuff from Mr. Opportunity over here.
I'm not. Well, mind you, before I started doing all the commercial work out here, as I said, I came out here to work, but I was doing lots of on-camera stuff.
Working in airplanes.
No, not airplane. Stewardess school. In an airplane.
I was just going to hit at the movie, not get the actual name.
Oh yeah, no. But wonderful actors.
It's a great movie.
memories.
You should still watch it.
I made all my checks clear, so I was very happy. My background was acting and music, so the commercial thing was relatively new for me. But I had a knack, because I was an actor, I had a knack for being able to speak pretty naturally, and my voice is like yours, kind of that tenor sort of timbre. So I got a lot of I
see that on a lot of auditions. Guy Next Door.
That's
30s
right.
to 40s.
I get a lot of that. Hey, honey, look in the paper. Or look what just showed up in the mailbox. And wow, this is really cool. And
Exactly.
plenty of free parking. Member FDIC. Some assembly required. This is the best tasting tuna. Your parents helped you put it together. That kind of stuff. But then, when animation was a much smaller world back then, because there was basically ABC, CBS, and NBC Saturday morning.
Right.
So when I finally got the chance to audition, and then started booking a little bit of work, I was, incredibly fortunate to do that. And one thing led to another, and I started working more and more with my voice. And I'm glad that I made that decision to be dedicated to it, because I'm hired for things with my voice that I would never be considered for on camera.
We're all grateful for that.
Oh, bless your heart. Good taste in cartoon acting.
Yes. The 90s were very good for you personally.
Very.
Some of my favorite characters came from the 90s. So when Warner Brothers started doing...
Now I'm in my 90s.
He did the Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. He's Yakko from Animaniacs. He was in Tiny Toons. All those Warner Brothers cartoons, they ended up opening up more characters that you not only acted in, but you also sang as.
Yeah.
Which you've turned into kind of a thing now, where you actually go on tour singing with...
I do.
orchestras.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like to do more of it, but I did a couple of my dear friends, Steve and Julie Bernstein, and I did a thing a couple of years ago in Kentucky with the Kentucky Symphony Orchestra, which is on my website, and I think a lot of it's on YouTube now.
It is. It's got lots and lots of views.
Which has been great, because I got to perform some of the Animaniacs songs live. 40-piece orchestra with the charts that were originally written for the songs, with the cartoon on a big screen behind me, and it was an enormous thrill.
It's like the Bare Naked Ladies trying to sing through all the 1 week song.
Exactly.
That's got to be difficult to sing through.
It was such a thrill. And
is there a teleprompter? I was curious.
No, not with me, baby.
Wow.
It's all right up here in the old cabeza. Huge thrill. And I've been a singer longer than anything, so I really, really love to sing. And so Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, the Three Musketeers with Disney, where I played another turtle, only this time a singing turtle. I just really love to sing.
He really loves turtles.
I do. Something about I'm a shell of a guy. What can I say?
Oh.
Yeah, rim shot.
As far as what you're currently working, you already mentioned on that you're working on the new Ninja Turtle show. Any non-disclosure agreement things that you're allowed to talk about? And my kids are younger, so they still enjoy learning how to cook with Frank.
Zafran. And you know what? That was really fun. That was a little thing for the.
It's got to be fun for you and Mark.
It was me doing a French dachshund, which is two of the Axis powers. I don't understand why the dachshund is French. And then the cat, the goofy cat, was Mark Hamill. And it's really cool. That's what's really cool, is having good friends who are pop culture icons. I mean, I get to hang out with Luke Skywalker. How cool is that? He was actually he and his wife, Mary Lou, beautiful woman, and their daughter, Chelsea, another beautiful woman, were at my son's 18th birthday party. And it was so interesting to see my son's buddies walking.
It's not old enough to have an 18-year-old.
Oh, thank you so much. So I was a busboy at the Last Supper. But it was so much fun to see my son and his buddies walk in and say, Is that the guy? Is that the Joker? Yeah, so it's really wonderful to be able to do this. But yeah, as far as what's coming up, I mean, I've worked on the Tinkerbell movies, and those are always coming out.
My daughters love them.
They're very good. They're very good.
My daughter's
Turtles.
4, so she's big into the any fairies and princess stuff.
Yes, I'm a fairy, and I'm very proud of it.
Not the first time.
It's L.A., baby. We're all dime a dozen. But yeah, there's always cool stuff. Tough Puppy with Butch Hartman and Nickelodeon, and just all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, I'm really busy, so I'm very grateful.
It's always a good problem to have.
Yeah, and I'm doing a podcast every week called Talkin' Tunes with Rob Paulsen, which is available on iTunes.
And you can find the links on his Facebook page.
On my Facebook page. Just go to Rob Paulsen and friend me on Facebook. Or I have a website, which is www.robpaulsenlive.com, and you can find my podcast.
Spelled the same way as live, just so you know.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, man, I am, as they say, I'm living the dream. I'm a very, very fortunate fellow. For many reasons, not the least of which is getting to share dinner with you, baby.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was very, very honored.
My pleasure.
Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
Well, I think so, Braden. But how are we going to subscribe to John Bailey's YouTube channel with no money? Oh, I know. We'll use plastic, like in my head.
Narf.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, buddy. It's a pleasure. Thank you, man. Thanks.